Today I'm going to talk about the big nerf that just happened, and if you're not informed yet, right, Instarem Amaze just included a 1% fee for all SGD transactions. That's right, there's no more fee waiver for the first 1,000 spent, right? From 10 March 2025 onwards, all SGD transactions will incur a 1% fee. This, of course, affects the very popular usage of Instarem Amaze, which is to use Citi Rewards, add to your Amaze card, and then use the Amaze card to earn 4 miles per dollar anywhere on your Citi Rewards card. So it's a very sad occasion, so I think, right, grab your drink and let's navigate these changes together. And if you have not been updated on such important news, right, subscribe to the Telegram to get timely news updates to earn more from your credit cards, savings accounts, etc. In this video, I'm going to talk about what the changes are, as well as what you need to do now, and some alternatives to consider, as well as how I'm personally navigating these changes. Now, from 10 March 2025, Amaze is going to impose a 1% fee on all SGD transactions. That's right, there's no more fee waiver for the first 1,000, which means that whenever you use Amaze in Singapore, you will have to pay a 1% fee. And it will come with a 50-cent minimum transaction fee. So even if you spend 50 cents on your Amaze card in SGD, you will incur 50 cents of fee. And also, right, Insta points will no longer be convertible into cashback. So you will want to redeem your cashback now if you have not already done so. And also, card link transactions will no longer earn Insta points even if you use them overseas. Now, this of course significantly affects the usage of Citi Rewards on Amaze. Now, if you are clicking on this video, I presume you already know that if you link Citi Rewards to your Amaze card, you can get 4 miles per dollar anywhere you go by tapping your Amaze card, because Amaze converts offline transactions into online ones, and Citi Rewards is an online card that gives 10 times points or 4 miles per dollar on online transactions. So this pairing has been immensely popular over the past 2 years, and yeah, it seems like Amaze is actually the one putting a nerf to this instead of Citibank. Surprise, surprise. And I think it's going to affect Citi Rewards users a lot. So from 10 March 2025 onwards, right, if you spend your Citi Rewards card via Amaze, you have to incur a 1% fee. So if you spend $1,000, you have to incur $10 for that transaction. Now, this isn't too bad until you consider the fact that the 1% fee has a minimum of 50 cents per transaction. So if you spend $2 on your Amaze, you are going to get a 50-cent fee, which is like 25% of your $2 transaction. So even if you're okay with a 1% fee, you have to make sure your transactions are $50 or above in order to pay 1%, because anything below $50 is going to incur more than 1% fee. Now, to be perfectly clear, Citi Rewards itself has not been nerfed. You can use it on online transactions, its intended purpose, and get 4 miles per dollar on it, or on certain categories offline, which includes departmental stores or fashion-related expenses. But it is nerfed because of the fact that most people, I think, have been using Citi Rewards as a 4 miles per dollar anywhere card via Amaze. But its original usage is still okay. If you are a predominantly online shopper, Citi Rewards is still an excellent card to use. Now, another thing would be overseas transactions will still work per normal. There's no 1% fee there, so it's still a very good combo for you to use overseas. Now, even though Amaze says that it doesn't impose overseas transaction fees, right, there's still a spread of around 2%, which is bearable because most people see it as a cheap way to get miles overseas. Now, other cards charge around 3 to 3.5%, whereas Amaze charges around 2%. So it's still a pretty okay combination to use overseas. Now, of course, as I mentioned earlier, there's no more Insta points given even on overseas transactions if you're using Amaze linked to a credit card. That said, Citi Rewards on Amaze overseas is still a pretty good value proposition, because again, 2% plus for 4 miles per dollar, whereas other cards charge 3+% for 4 miles per dollar. Now, if you have been collecting Insta points, you better redeem them for cashback soon, because from 10 March onwards, you can only redeem them for KrisFlyer miles, and it is at a very poor rate of 1,200 Insta points to 400 KrisFlyer miles. Now, currently, until the change kicks in, you can convert 2,000 Insta points for $20 cash. And I think this is a much better conversion, because if you do the math, right, if you opt for the KrisFlyer conversion, you're actually giving up 3 cents per mile, which is very exorbitant. So if you have enough Insta points to change for $20 cashback, do it now. The other question to answer would be, is it still worth it to use this card in Singapore? And I think it really depends on what you use your Citi points for. If you're using it for KrisFlyer miles, then I would say you should probably look for other 4 miles per dollar alternatives. Now, there are quite a few other options, and there's UOB Preferred Platinum Visa, which is the most obvious replacement. It gives you 4 miles per dollar on anywhere you can pay with or on many transactions online. So it's the closest replacement we have to Citi Rewards. Or you can consider UOB Visa Signature, which also gives you 4 miles per dollar on contactless payments, although there's no bonus miles on online transactions, and you need to have a minimum spend of at least $1,000 within your statement month. Also from UOB, you can consider the UOB Ladies Card, which gives you 4 miles per dollar on selected categories. So these are good 4 miles per dollar alternatives to the Citi Rewards card if you need to use it offline, right? If you want to use it online, Citi Rewards still gives 4 miles per dollar online, as I mentioned earlier. Now, we're intending to write a piece on the 3 4 miles per dollar UOB cards, so subscribe to my Telegram group to get updates on that. However, if you're using your Citi points for other airlines to get you more bang for your miles, I think that you can still consider continuing the use of Citi Rewards on Amaze for offline transactions. Now, I've recently talked about how to use Air Miles to redeem Singapore Airlines flights for cheaper. And if you are going to use your Citi points for this purpose, I feel that you should still continue using your Citi Rewards on Amaze. Now, consider this: if you want to book a one-way business class flight on Singapore Airlines to Japan or Korea, you will need 52,000 miles. Now, this is $13,000 of spend on a 4 miles per dollar card. However, on Air, you just need 40,000 miles, which is just $10,000 of spend. Now, if you were to use the Citi Rewards card, which can transfer its points to Air Miles, which is a very rare thing in Singapore, you actually just need to spend $10,000 to get that flight to Japan or Korea, right? Which means, technically speaking, if you compare this 4 miles per dollar card to UOB Preferred Platinum Visa, which is also 4 miles per dollar, you can see that the 4 miles per dollar is not the same. In fact, I'll argue that the Citi Rewards card has been a 5.2 miles per dollar card all this time if you're using the points for Air Miles. Now, I'm not even going to get started on the very cheap business class flights you can get on Air's flights because we want to keep things the same, so I'll just talk about Singapore Airlines flights. Now, if you're looking at Europe, it is the same story. It takes 103,500 KrisFlyer miles to take you from Singapore to Europe in Singapore Airlines business class, whereas it takes just 80,000 Air miles to do the same flight. And I will know that because I took that same flight to where I am right now via Air Miles, booking my Singapore Airlines flights. Check out a link in my Telegram for a guide on how to use Air Miles to book Singapore Airlines flights for cheap. So if you choose to use Citi Rewards on Amaze to pay for something, let's say at a restaurant, you pay extra 1% fee for extra 1.2 miles per dollar. And is it worth it? I would say it is worth it for most people because 1 cent to pay for 1.2 miles is just 0.83 cents per mile, which is a very cheap rate to buy miles at. Of course, sadly, it's no longer such a straightforward thing anymore because you will now have to use your Citi points in a very optimal way to justify that 1% fee. And even if you're okay with that 1% fee, you need to dodge the 50-cent minimum transaction fee by making sure that each transaction is at least $50 or more. Otherwise, you incur more than 1% fee. So yeah, I think it is a sad day for Citi Rewards users. Now, I would actually tell Citibank that, hey, you're not the one who nerfed this, right? So maybe you can just make Citibank a 4 miles per dollar anywhere card, right? Just a thought. Now, in conclusion, I will still continue using my Citi Rewards on Amaze, provided that each transaction is around $50 or up, so that I can keep my fees to 1%. Now again, it is such a good card to use because of the points ability to be transferred to airlines like Air Miles for cheaper business class flights. So even with a 1% fee, I think you can still justify its use. Of course, don't use Amaze anymore if you are using Citi Rewards to pay for online stuff because Citi Rewards already gives you 4 miles per dollar on online transactions. Yeah, and if you are just going to stick to KrisFlyer, then yeah, go look for another 4 miles per dollar card, and I will have a more detailed article on alternatives to pick, so subscribe to the Telegram. And if you want to earn more from your credit cards, savings account, etc., join my Telegram because I will release my 2025 credit card strategy for the year, and it's a good thing that I waited till now because this is such big news that it will drastically change everyone's credit card strategy. And also take a look at this video where I talk more about using your miles to greater effect, and you definitely want to watch this because yeah, you can use Air Miles to book flights for cheaper. So see you in that video.